What if I told you that behind the glittering lights of K-pop's biggest stages, there might be a quiet move unfolding, one so unexpected that it could rewrite the rules of celebrity power and business influence? Imagine this: Jungkook, the golden magne of BTS, once celebrated not only for his voice and stage presence but also for being part of HYBE's historic stock windfall, suddenly loses a massive portion of wealth when those shares slipped from his hands. Now picture him not in defeat but in silence, calculating, watching, waiting. And here's the twist. What if that silence is not emptiness but strategy? What if the world's biggest pop star has been quietly shifting his focus toward none other than Lisa Manaband from BLACKPINK, whose empire has been expanding at a pace that rivals luxury conglomerates? This isn't a rumor. It's a possibility that demands attention because if true, it's not just about money. It's about power, influence, and the art of rewriting destiny. The story of Jungkook's lost HYBE shares is no secret. Back in 2020, BTS members became millionaires overnight when the company gifted them stocks before HYBE went public. For Jungkook, it was more than a financial win. It was symbolic, a sign that idols could be stakeholders, not just performers. But markets are brutal teachers, and not everyone walked away unscathed. Prices dropped, shares were sold, and Jungkook, like others, saw fortunes shrink. To the outside world, it might have looked like a loss, but insiders know. Such experiences can ignite something deeper. Losing money doesn't just hurt, it plants a seed. It makes you question, calculate, and strategize for the next move, and if you've been watching Lisa, you'll see why that next move could be directed her way. Since leaving YG and founding LLOUD, Lisa has gone from idol to entrepreneur. Her brand value is skyrocketing not just because she's a global superstar, but because she understands something that few idols do: how to turn fame into a sustainable, revenue-generating empire. Partnerships with Louis Vuitton, luxury endorsements, her own creative control, even new music like Rockstar and Dream, Lisa is no longer just part of BLACKPINK. She is a business. She is an investment. And the smartest investors aren't looking at what's hot now, they're looking at what will dominate tomorrow. Picture Jungkook in this context. A man who knows the sting of losing stock value, who knows how fast paper wealth can vanish. Imagine him recognizing in Lisa not just a friend or peer, but a fortress of brand equity and untapped global revenue streams. Concept of diversification is basic in finance, but in entertainment it's revolutionary. Instead of putting all your future on HYBE stock, why not diversify into Lisa's empire? An empire rooted in luxury, global fans, and the hybrid world of music and business. The potential ROI isn't just monetary, it's cultural. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Fans already know that Jungkook and Lisa have shared stages, global recognition, and the weight of carrying K-pop on their shoulders. But what most people don't realize is that in the entertainment industry, collaboration often begins quietly, behind closed doors, through mutual advisors, brand managers, and investment consultants. A quiet handshake, a silent wire transfer, a strategic partnership cloaked as support. The audience only sees the music video or the campaign months later. Could Jungkook's so-called silence be the perfect cover for his boldest investment play yet? If you're watching this, you're probably leaning in right now because the bigger question isn't just, did Jungkook invest? It's why Lisa? And that's where the business insight comes in. Lisa's brand value is global. She's not limited by one market or one demographic. From Asia to the West, her reach crosses borders effortlessly. That's why Louis Vuitton placed her front and center, that's why her solo music racks up millions of views instantly, and that's why entrepreneurs and investors are watching her closely. In marketing psychology, this is called transference of equity, the ability to transfer your cultural capital into commercial influence. Jungkook knows music dominance, but Lisa knows brand equity dominance. Together, that's not just collaboration, it's leverage. You might think you've figured it out. But here's the cliffhanger. What if this isn't just about financial investment? What if Jungkook and Lisa's names are circling in meetings not as idol and idol but as investor and founder? What if conversations are already happening about co-developing ventures, entertainment tech startups, or even luxury collabs that blend BTS's global loyalty with Lisa's entrepreneurial control? That sounds wild, remember? Every massive business play sounds impossible before it becomes history. The psychology of entrepreneurship in entertainment isn't just about money. It's about legacy. For Jungkook, who has lived in the shadow of billion-dollar HYBE decisions, the question is, does he want to be remembered as someone who rode the wave or as someone who built one of his own? For Lisa, the answer is already unfolding. She's building. For Jungkook, joining forces, even quietly, wouldn't just protect his wealth. It would amplify his relevance in a post-BTS, post-HYBE world. Of course, this is all speculation, but speculation in business is often the first step toward reality. Every empire starts with a whisper, every billion-dollar deal starts with a rumor, and every investor knows that timing is everything. Lisa on one side, seated at a boardroom table discussing brand expansion and revenue models. Jungkook on the other, seemingly quiet but with eyes that have seen markets rise and fall, a man ready to bet on something that feels safer than stock charts, human brand equity. Collision of their worlds could be the spark of a new kind of K-pop power, one not defined by music charts alone but by ownership, entrepreneurship, and strategy. And now, let's circle back to where we started. The silence after Jungkook's HYBE loss wasn't the end, it might have been the setup. The shocking twist isn't that he lost, it's that he may have learned. And in Lisa, he might see the perfect second chance. That's the mystery, the possibility, the secret move that could shift the entire conversation around celebrity business empires. And when you really think about it, this isn't just a story about two idols. It's about how today's celebrities are rewriting the definition of wealth and influence. For decades, musicians, actors, and artists lived off contracts, tours, and royalties. They were the talent, not the owners. But something shifted in the digital era. Suddenly, fame could be leveraged beyond the stage, into tech, fashion, luxury, and even venture capital. Lisa understood this early. That's why her solo brand feels more like a global lifestyle label than just a music act. Every move she makes is layered with strategy, building brand value, aligning with legacy luxury houses, and creating cultural capital that doesn't depreciate the way a stock price can. So imagine Jungkook looking at this landscape. He knows firsthand how vulnerable you can be when all your chips are tied to one company, even a giant like HYBE. He's seen fortunes evaporate on paper. Now he's older, sharper, and maybe a little hungrier. Wouldn't it make sense for him to look at Lisa's empire, not as competition, but as a hedge, a diversification, and maybe even a way to step into the entrepreneur circle without carrying all the risk alone? Collaborations like these don't need to be announced publicly. The smartest deals are the ones fans don't see until years later. That's the beauty of stealth moves. They allow stars to build without noise, to plan without pressure, and to execute before anyone can copy. If Jungkook has indeed entered Lisa's orbit from a business angle, we might not know for months or even years. But when the reveal comes, it won't be subtle. It will be seismic. And think about the cultural psychology here. Fans love music, but what they crave even more is story. They want to believe their idols are not just entertainers, but visionaries. They want to watch them evolve from stage performers into icons who control their destiny. That's why these narratives matter. Possibility of Jungkook aligning with Lisa doesn't just intrigue investors. It electrifies fans because it paints their faves as masterminds of their own fate. And this is where retention skyrockets. What if this is only the beginning of a new era in K-pop, where idols stop waiting for labels to dictate their careers and start using their own platforms as springboards into empires? Lisa already built the blueprint. Could Jungkook be the next to follow it? Or even better, could he partner with her to accelerate it? That's the cliffhanger question that makes this story impossible to ignore. So remember this moment, because the silence we're witnessing may one day be looked back on as the calm before a storm. A storm not of scandals or rumors, but of boardrooms, investments, and billion-dollar plays. And when that storm breaks, the names Jungkook and Lisa Manaban could stand not just as legends of K-pop, but as pioneers of a new entertainment economy. So here's the final thought. Whether or not Jungkook is already invested, the narrative writes itself. Two of the biggest names in global entertainment, one with the drive of an entrepreneur, the other with the wisdom of experience. The alliance may still be invisible, but the potential is undeniable. And if you're still watching, ask yourself, when history is written, would you rather be the fan who only saw the music or the one who saw the business empire rising in real time? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. If you found yourself hooked, curious, or even questioning, don't just click away. Hit subscribe, share this with someone who needs to know what's really happening, and rewatch for the details you might have missed. Because the next chapter, it might just be bigger than anything we've imagined. And trust me, you won't want to miss it.